Welcome to this program today, and to me this is one of the most important programs we've ever had on Pike TV. Starts back about 4 years ago when we contacted our Congressman Hal Rogers and asked for assistance because we wanted to bring the Vietnam Wall, the traveling wall, to Pikeville and Pike County and to eastern Kentucky and to the counties that border us in West Virginia and Virginia. And his office assisted us in contacting them, and we got scheduled, but the schedule was really long, and it took us this long to get it scheduled to be in this part of Central Appalachia. So this traveling memorial wall is coming to Pike County from July the 3rd to July the 7th. We're going to present you a program today. This is sponsored by the city of Pikeville and the Pike County government and all of the veterans group, not only in Pike County, but you have them from other counties. You have them. We have contacted the ones in Virginia and contact them in Mingo County, West Virginia, and the ones in eastern Kentucky. This is an event, a very solemn event. Last year, Bobby Branham and Jeannie Robinson from my staff went to Charleston, West Virginia to meet with the folks, and Charleston had it last year. The year before, it was in the Commonwealth of Kentucky at Richmond. But Jeannie and Bobby got all the information, and we're going to give you in detail today of what this is going to be like. We all know that Pikeville always has a great 4th of July celebration in the city park. First thing they told him, we don't want this around any celebration. Said the Daytona 500 requested it last year, and we turned them down because we didn't want it in all the fanfare. We want it to be solemn. And the reasons for that, and we understood it totally. Jimmy Kinney's on this program today, and he's got some information he's going to give you on the people that lost their lives, and the lost their lives in the Commonwealth of Kentucky and in Pike County, but in this conflict. And it was sad. These Pike County, the Commonwealth, and these young Americans, I looked at the percentage the other day that was below 21 years of age, that gave their life and gave all for the right for us to be here today to even have this program and be free. So we're going to be discussing today a little history that people would have never known probably, and an opportunity. And I know when Jeannie and Bobby went over, she took the carbon pencil and brought back to her neighbor at Virgie of a son, and the mother was very emotional, and said that she would never be able to go to Washington to see this memorial wall in Washington. And we just hope that this will give people closure, a little more closure. So we're going to start this program today by introducing the city representative, which is Jesse Bowling, and just ask him to welcome you, and then we'll go to Jimmy Kinney and ask him, and then we will start providing you some information and of the setup. It's going to happen. There's been a lot of planning, and Jimmy, if you all remember, and I'd like to especially thank the city for what Sean Cochran has meant to the committee. Sean has been to every meeting, very helpful. When Jeannie and Bobby got back, Jimmy, from Charleston, he had the dimensions of the wall and everything, and he drove all over Pikeville area trying to find a place that would be what they wanted, would be out by itself, very solemn, no cell phone, no smoking. And Bobby came back and said, I've measured every place, looked every place, and the only place that I see is the soccer field. So the soccer field is where it's going to be. We talked to the city manager, Donovan Blackburn, and told him at the city, and And also, the City Commission and the Pike County Fiscal Court appropriated the first money for this. Now, this is a very costly. The wall don't come to an area free. The participants, and participants being veterans, and the community businesses have to become sponsors, and it takes a large amount of money to bring this to an area and to make it happen. And during this program, we're going to talk about some of the sponsors and what they've done, and all of what these veterans groups association had done. And we started out talking to them about the reason to bring it to Pike County, that we have a Veterans Wall of Fame for all of our veterans that gave all and all of our veterans who served. And I know well about that because lost in my family a member of my family who gave all in Iraq, and the only one, Jimmy, from Pike County who went in from Pike County to the Iraq War. So my family well knows when you sacrifice somebody from your family and realize how much it means for these families. Anyway, they can have closure. So, John.
Thank you, Judge. The City of Pikeville is very grateful to be a part of this program, Judge, and what you all have done has been outstanding. On behalf of Donovan and the Mayor Justice and the Pikeville City Commission, unfortunately they couldn't be here today, and I'm very humbled and honored to be sitting here discussing this program, as it is it's going to be a really fantastic event and a thing that comes to the city. It is a great partnership among all, and I think that it shows in the efforts of how far we've come along with this, and it's a great thing to be a part of it. And the Bob Amos soccer field, that'll be where the wall will be, is a great place for that. It's a great quiet place, and I'm glad they chose that location because it's going to be able to really highlight the wall. And I know there's several things that we'll be discussing today that will actually be up there, for that. So it's going to make it a really great place to go and check that out. And Judge, again, we're glad that this is coming to Pikeville. We're glad that this was sought out 4 years ago to bring that here. There are a lot of people in our communities. The Pikeville chapter, DAV chapter, has contacted us as well, and they're very excited about this. So, and we look forward to it. We think it's going to be a great thing, and Sean has done a great job working with the committee and everything. He's done a great job. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here today, so we actually held some Olympic gold medalists this weekend for a softball camp here, and that brought several hundred people in the community. So he's with them today. So, but I got to fill in, and it's a great honor to be a part of this program and to actually see it come to our community.
We have with us also Jimmy Kinney, and I know I've worked with Jimmy and his dad, the Hillbilly Days, for years, and I think about Jimmy Kinney, or anybody else in this county thinks about Jimmy Kinney. They think about his dad, but primarily they think about Christmas in July and what they do for those children. But Jimmy, as you know, the motorcycle group at Christmas in July, and when Jimmy was asked and attended the meetings, Jimmy's going to tell you what he helped organize. This will come in out of the South. I'll give this information and turn it over to Jimmy, and he can start giving you some information. But when it comes in out of the South, it comes to the Letcher Pike line. That's where we meet them. So guidelines are set up. When you agree, you have to sign on the line, as you know, to do certain things. One of the things is they have to be escorted into Pikeville from the county line with a police car in front for safety reasons and many other reasons, and a city police car with the light on, and the sheriff's car with the light on will be at the head. But they required, second, to have a motorcycle. First, they wanted Jimmy to tell you how many in the first group. Second group would be Vietnam veterans who wasn't involved in the war, and then everybody else, and Jimmy will tell you about that. You'll also have a map that will be on Pike TV showing you the route with a projected timeline, so as it comes down US 23 into Pikeville, and then it comes around the boulevard, and we'll show you. And for those of you who don't know where the soccer field is, most people do because they know the project that Jimmy Kinney and the community and the city and the county and too many to even go into detail, that built the handicap park is behind. Now that's the reason most people know where the soccer field is, because so much emphasis, and rightly so, has gone to the only handicap park in the Kentucky for the handicap. And then we think about our friend Randy Jones and about what he meant of organizing, helping organize that, being the leader that organized that. And Jimmy Kinney and I will remember the first meeting held at the Mark 5 or 2, one of the others, I don't remember which one. And about the first meeting that was held to start raising funds for that. And what a job that they've done for that. But that's the reason they know where the soccer field is. And this will be an event. The Veterans Hall of Honor won a national award, and we emphasized that to these people that had in charge of this traveling wall. And I feel that had something to do with it. We were discussing this morning of the names of, and he'll give you the number, Jimmy will, but the names need to be on a plaque. I know that you see the doughboy that's on the rear entrance of the Pike County Historical Pike County Courthouse, and you see 4 wars and conflicts on each side of that of the people in the county who lost it. And once we get this project by us, and Jimmy, when we raised this money, and gosh, it's unbelievable how the help we've got, and I'll read those names off a little later, but of some of the sponsors, and hope we get all of them today, that we worded that so that money could be available to do other things for the veterans. And what a Veterans Day that we do have every year, but I'm going to turn it to Jimmy Kinney, who knows how to organize, and he just has a knack. Jimmy and I was raised together. We're Shelby boys, and we're not the smartest 2 in the world, but we're dirt smart. We was raised up to mouth of Dry Fork at Shelby, and we know, and Jimmy loves this county as much as I love this county, and as Jesse loves this county. So I'm going to turn it over to Jimmy Kinney.
Well, Judge, when you contacted me the first time on this ride, or this wall coming into town, you asked me if I could get maybe 20, 25 bikes together to help escort this in. And immediately, an explosion went off. 25 was maybe a start at the front. But since that time, I really got together with my friends and have some of the best in the world. Anyway, we started just spreading word on this wall and it coming into town, and that they wanted a motorcycle escort for this. So we made up a flyer and we started handing it out. I've been going to West Virginia, Virginia, all over Kentucky, kind of spreading this and handing out flyers and talking about this wall coming into town. And really, when I started looking at the stats on it, 1,057 Kentuckians on that wall. We know of 25 just out of Pike County. And there's 58,267 names. That should be reason enough to come out and support this wall. With what we're looking at is, if you have a motorcycle, you need to come out and join it. Sure. We need to make this thing huge. We need to let the people in our area and people throughout the state know how much we care about our people. And the way this thing's going to work out is that the motorcycles will meet at Harley-Davidson at Pikeville on Tuesday, the 2nd at 1 o'clock. We'll kind of group there together. We will ride to the Dorton Fire Department. There we will, with the help of the Dorton Fire Department and Rescue Squad, They will take care of us as far as getting us in line. I will go on to the Virginia state line and escort the wall down to Dorton. And I've heard a lot of people say, well, why don't we meet them at the line? Why don't we go to the Virginia line? Well, folks, I've drove the Virginia line.
Too dangerous.
I looked at it, and if you think about it, if you had 200 motorcycles and we get to the top of that hill to Virginia-Kentucky state line, and we have to turn around to come back, it's just too much of a hazard. And safety's first, and we can't do that. So Dorton Fire Department was the first wide place that we could really find. And after meeting with Fire Department Rescue Squad, it was the ideal place because they will take care of us. So that's why that we're meeting at the Dorton Fire Department. And we'll leave out a Pikeville probably around 1:20, something like that. It's 20 miles from the Dorton Fire Department to where we turn off on the Hamley Boulevard. If we run 50, 55 mile an hour, that's 25 minutes. Okay, we will leave the Dorton Fire Department between 20 and 25 till 3. That will put us into Pikeville right at 3 or maybe just a few minutes after 3. And we encourage everyone, you know, if you're from Dorton or wherever, from Dorton to Pikeville to Bob Amos Park, we'd encourage you to come out and kind of see what this group is going to have. But 20 till 3, we leave Dorton. At 3 o'clock, we hit Pikeville. So just keep those timelines, you know, in order. And hopefully, the way you're going to see this, well, not hopefully, the way you're going to see this is you'll have the police up front, then you'll have 10 Vietnam veterans in front of the wall. And they will be special. You'll see special. We're working on these 10 being a different group. And then I want all the veterans, Vietnam veterans, directly behind the wall. And then if you, like myself, are just a supporter of this, then you fall in behind them. And we will take care of that once we line up at Dorton, and we'll go over how we're going to do this. But the bikes, like the wall, the 10 bikes, the wall will pull out. And then if you're in line, which I'm anticipating a lot of bikes, you'll kind of move over to the left-hand lane. All your veterans will go on the right-hand lane, and then you just sweep right in behind them, and then that puts everybody in line in order that they need to be. And hopefully when we come into town, we're going to have a sight to see. Now we'll be going directly through Hamley to Bob Amos Park. There's a little wide place straight across from where Bob Amos Park is. And with the factor of all these bikes being behind the wall, another safety issue is the wall will pull over in that wide place, and then all the bikes will continue to go up the hill. We'll go up to the walk track and make a loop and come back and then stop to where we can still leave room for the wall to go in. And then once the wall goes in, then we can park over there in the wide place where the wall will be, you know, the parking area. And those that want to go and look at the wall, they can. So this is kind of the route that we're going to take and the way it's going to work.
Kentucky State Police and the Sheriff's Office on 23, then the Police Department in Pike will try to keep everybody safe, and that day clear the way so that they can get to Pikeville and get up to the
This
site.
will be broadcasted also. I've talked to East Kentucky Broadcasting, and they will be in the lead. And all you got to do is tune in East Kentucky Broadcasting, and they will let you know where we are and what's taking place. That's going to be another good thing. If you want to listen, you'll know where we are. So, and I have talked to KVE and the city police department, and everything's kind of already in place for this. It's just now just kind of crossing a T and dotting an I, and we're good.
I remember the first meeting, Jesse, we had on this, and we had it in my conference room. Mm-hmm. Meetings thereafter had to be moved to the courtroom
Yeah.
because the veterans group, and they just kept getting larger and larger. So people can't do anything by themselves. This is a good example of people working together and making something happen. But we're also going to have helicopters, and I know that Mr. Tackett from up to Dorton area had some friends in South Carolina, and he was aware that they had helicopters that they took to these events, and he contacted them and brought it before the committee, and we ended up, we're getting 2 helicopters that will be brought to the site. For it will have all the weaponry in it, all the guns and everything in it. You can't shoot them, but the government requires them to be in. But it's something that that all the veterans during that area can see sitting over there. During that, a lot of them rode in or protected them, or used as a medevac or whatever for this event. This is controlled by a veterans group in South Carolina, and of course we had to raise money, a vast amount of money for the wall, and raise money for them to bring these 2 in. It would be available, and I imagine it'd be out on the fringes for pictures of the veterans, their family, children, and grandchildren, to get pictures with the veterans.
Absolutely.
Next to these helicopters. And Jesse, that will in itself, and it will be a, I don't know what these are, Jimmy, a UH-1 Huey and a OH-58 Huey. But
they both fly.
They both fly. That's right, they both fly.
We'll have these staged, Judge, for pictures up there with the wall.
Let's talk also about the opening ceremonies and when that will be held. And that will be held on July the 4th of 2013, and everybody needs to come out to this. City Manager Donovan Blackburn will do the welcoming to this, and Donovan will also handle the program. He will be introducing everybody on the program. Bob Finch, the pastor of the First Baptist Church of Forest Hills, who is a Vietnam Air Force veteran, will give the invocation, and posting of colors by the Betsy Lane DAV, and what a job that chapter does in regard to this. Pledge of Allegiance is Leo Murphy. And fellas, I had a chance to be at the cemetery, Arlington National Cemetery, with Leo Murphy. And I was moved and seeing the heart that Leo had. Leo was a veteran of Vietnam. And I saw the tears run out of his eyes when he even able to visit the graves of his fellow soldiers that was in this cemetery. And Leo, ever since that time when I returned to Pike County and we do the Pledge of Allegiance, I know where Leo Murphy's heart is, and he will do the Pledge of Allegiance. Lauren Stewart, Artist Collective Theater, and what a job she does on the Star Spangled Banner. I will have some very brief remarks, and then Tony Tackett will, Executive Director of the Tourism. Jesse, the Pikeville Tourism and the Pike County Tourism is an integral part of this. This is going to bring a lot of people to Pikeville and Pike County. A fellow walked in our office about 3 weeks ago with a check and talked with me and Jeannie from Tennessee. He has a home here, one in Tennessee. He has 5 neighbors listed to him. He got a hold of a flyer here and had it laying on his table in his home in Tennessee, near Morristown. His neighbor came by. He picked it up and looked at it. And he said, I've never seen that wall. I'm a Vietnam veteran. Where is this? He said, it's from where I'm from. He said, Pikeville, Pike County. And he said, I want to go to this. And he said, well, I can do that because I'm going. And he said that evening, 4 others came to his house, which made 5 of his neighbors. 3 of those neighbors, Vietnam veterans. They're all coming to Pikeville, and
wow.
He had him get a room for him here in Pikeville. And that's an example of the people from other areas, even Tennessee, but Virginia and West Virginia, and the counties of eastern Kentucky, that's going to come to this solemn occasion, quiet occasion, to this memorial wall when it's here from July the 3rd to the 7th. But everybody's invited to this opening we have. We will have, the keynote address will be by the Reverend Lloyd Holland. He is a Baptist minister and a U.S. Army Vietnam veteran. He opened and was the keynote speaker at the first Veterans Day we had here in Pikeville. And what a job he did giving tribute to those who didn't get much tribute when the war ended and they returned to this country. Vietnam veterans were not treated properly, and we all in America realize that today. But around this country, as this memorial wall travels America, then people is able to memorialize these people who many gave all, many gave some. Some are walking around with injuries and today from that war, from that conflict. So it is, we are blessed to have this to come to our area. We are, we will have the 20-gun salute, and that will be by the Belfry chapter of the DVA. We will have Francis Lotes will have the taps. This is a solemn occasion. The colors will be retired by the Betsy Lane DVA, and Victor Sanders, the Vietnam veterans, will close it with a benediction. But as we talk about, it takes a vast amount of money to do this. But, you know, I ran into Larry Thacker one day, and Larry is a booster and supporter of all of our veterans. If you'll go to the Thacker Cemetery on Memorial Day, you'll know what they do up there at that cemetery. But Larry and I was talking, and he said, I want to help on this. A few months later, Larry Thacker called me from Jerry's Restaurant, eating breakfast with Rick Anders from Speedy Cash Check Advance, and said, we're eating breakfast, and I was telling him about this Vietnam Memorial Wall coming to the area, and that they had to raise money to bring it in. And he said, and Larry said, I'm going to help. He said, I'll match you dollar per dollar. They brought us in a check. Then Eric Kahn, who done a lot for this area, he sent a check. Belfry Chapter 141 was the first one that responded. James Young has, and everybody knows that James Young was in 5 different wars and conflicts during his tenure into the armed forces of the United States of America, one of the most decorated Pike Countyans that we have. And he has worked his heart out and raised a vast amount of money for this. The Betsy Lane chapter followed up. The Kentucky Department of Disabled American Veterans sent a check. The Morgan County DVA chapter. Dr. Mary Pauline Fox, who not only loves this county and Central Appalachia, but loves the freedom that she has had all of her life and is appreciative, sent a check. Ronald Wright and James W. Young Jr., who I just mentioned, Judge Hayes and myself, of course, we contributed, and the Shelby Valley Historical Society, who certainly has done so much, has a restoration of all the graves and all the cemeteries in Shelby Valley. And R.E. Rogers Funeral Home. Ari Branham, let me tell you about Ari Branham. Ari Branham has worked for many years for veterans. I mean, he has been in the forefront. Millard, Kent Carter, Michael Lucas, and Stephen C. Wilson, OD, a veteran. Rodney Scott, the jailer. Will T. Scott, who, if you haven't heard Will T. Scott speak at one of our Veterans Day, then you have missed it, because he has a personal story to tell about Vietnam. Will T. this year will not be with us. He is scheduled to be in Alaska. But Will T. Spoke last year at our Veterans Day, and he's been appointed by the Chief Justice as their Veterans Representative on all issues in the Commonwealth. Victor Sanders, who will close this out, and the Knott County DVA. Now also the Owensboro, Kentucky DVA. Fort Kendall DVA, the Screaming Eagles 101. We all know about the Screaming Eagles, and we know that they're interested in keeping this free. Roland Case in the County Attorney's Office, Bobby Branham in my office, Jimmy and Karen Ellis Murphy, Bill Edmonds in the West Body Shop, and others are going. Now, I was kind of reluctant to call these names out, fellas, because we always miss somebody. But these names will be permanently placed in a place away from this, so people will know who has assisted and helped. But it's in sweat equity. You have not only the city and county employees, but you will have people from Jimmy's motorcycle group, but you have another motorcycle group that travels with this wall. Had a representative to come and see us recently, and they will be here to help set up and take down. So this is going to, I'm sure that our motels and everything in the area in Pikeville is going to be full during this period because of all these people you have coming in to this event. So all of your organizations, your veterans organization, has put time and energy and will put time and energy into making this happen. So I want to go back, and I've done most of the talking from the notes, and I told Jeannie, Jimmy, that she ought to be the one over here on this program because she is the coordinator, and not us three.
She has put in a lot of time.
She knew more about this
done
than
great.
anybody else. But she gave me her list. The emergency management will have emergency shelters. The local ambulance services will have that. Pikeville Medical Center is involved in this. She advised me that you'll have some city and county fire departments. The city fire department, Sean had reported that they're looking to put the big flags up as they come down the boulevard. And what a picture that will be of that wall coming underneath that that they use so prominently for not only our soldiers that loses their life and gives all, but our firemen and policemen that give their life to give all. So that will be something. The volunteers, and I haven't mentioned the volunteers. But we couldn't do anything if it wasn't for the volunteers. So you put the community leaders, the officials, and volunteers together, along with the veterans, and as Jimmy Kinney said, in fact, this thing's going to happen. It's going to be well organized, and it's going to be beautiful to see, and hopefully to get closures. Certainly we need more help financially. And that can be given to anybody that I mentioned today, and it can be made. It is tax deductible, and it can be made out, be brought to my office or to the city office, to anybody we've mentioned. You see Jimmy, if you got a check, give it to him. He knows where it goes. It's deposited. All of this will be used for this event, and if we was lucky and had an overrun on fund, all the money is to be spent for veterans causes. So that is, it will be a beautiful sight as these pictures reveal to you that you have today on this wall. They will be large American flags. They will be small flags handed out. They will be, and I know that this solemn occasion, and I guess that the thing that really moved me was a veteran in a wheelchair when Jeannie was at Charleston and took a picture. And he's in the wheelchair reaching up to get a name of one of his buddies. He had lost his legs in this war, and it was a sight that really impressed me, and I'm sure it will impress anybody as they use this as part of this program that we have here today. So that, and I want to go back and go again to you all to
One of the things, Judge, I know that when you come to this wall, there will be people there to show you and to assist you on where you can find a particular person on this wall. That when you come up and you say, I'm looking for so-and-so, then they can pull it up and they can find that person for you and direct you, more toward the wall, because there's 58,000 names.
I was asked that question by a Vietnam veteran the other day, and he said, I had 3 friends, one from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, one from Kansas, and one from somewhere in the South. My closest friends, these fellows, in my opinion, saved my life over there. And I want to pay tribute to them. How do I find them? You just told us there will be people there who can take them to their names on this wall.
Yeah, it'd be pretty difficult to find, I'm sure. But this is one of the things that the volunteers will be working on, and making sure that we have soft drinks, water and stuff there for them also. When you come, and the way this is set up.
Shades.
You're going to have the bleachers are going to be there to where that you can look at the wall, and you're going to be there to where you can go over and sit down, and then the helicopters, and then you can walk across the parking lot and get you something cool to drink. And
we'll have tents.
Mother Nature has been contacted by this committee to help provide water. And what could we do if we have these things and the weather is hot if it wasn't for Coca-Cola and Pepsi?
Yeah,
absolutely.
And they both have been contacted, and they will be a part of this. They will be a sponsor of this. So it's going to be a great day. It's going to be solemn, but it'll be something that everybody involved in it, everybody that attends, the families know out there. Your papaw has told you these stories. A lot of women involved in the nurses corps and all in the past.
There are 8 women on that wall.
Now there's information that I wasn't aware of. That Jimmy said 8 women.
8 women
Who
were nurses.
Was nurses in the
that are on the wall.
Army Corps that's on that wall, who was residents of this Commonwealth.
There's good stats. You just need to come to the wall and visit it, and then you'll learn more about it. This is going to be a good thing.
And Jesse Bowling, the city's cooperation, this couldn't happen without the city of Pikeville. And we can't, by reading this local paper sometime, you don't get it, but we work together on every project that we can work together on that's good for the families of this county. We don't agree on everything, but we absolutely work on everything together.
We do, Judge, and it shows. I mean,
and it shows. Hatfield and McCoy is a good example.
That's
if you want to look at that, that's an example. But it's anything that's good for the families of this county. You can find us as teaming up with the community leaders and with the volunteers, and it happens. That is the reason that Pikeville and Pike County is one of the most progressive areas that we got in Central Appalachia.
Kind of like a marriage, isn't it?
Gosh, yes.
The husband and wife thing. You come together at the end.
But
we work together on it great, and from the city standpoint, Judge, we want, and for the community, we want everyone to know to come out, support this. When, like Jimmy was saying, when they come through at 3 o'clock, we have sidewalks that goes entirely around the boulevard. We would love to see those filled with folks standing there paying respects, paying tribute to it. We've got the parking lot. When this ceremony opens on Thursday, July the 4th at 9 a.m., when it opens up, though, for the people to come and see the wall, I think we have 57 parking spaces over there across from the soccer complex for people to park.
And they've talked about busing the ones if need be from the other parking areas. So people's going to have access to it, and this will be a solemn day, but one we'll all remember. This will be something will be etched in our minds for the rest of our life. Being able to pay tribute to people who this country didn't treat properly when they returned to become part of society and contributed so much.
One,
And they live right here among us. And we've talked about those
25 of them, we know. You know.
Well,
25, and but this morning we had 4 was in the office.
what better way to have that, Judge, too, but Jimmy, to have this on Independence Day, the week of Independence.
Gosh, yes,
country.
and we can celebrate that in the park, and then up on at the soccer
Planning
field.
committee did a good job.
Well, Jimmy, you all did a good job. It takes people to come to those meetings, and the city's representative Sean and all of those other groups, and they call it sweat equity. In a while, everybody goes to work, pulls up their sleeve, makes something happen.
You know, I know on our side, all our guys need is just maybe a reason to ride, and boy, this gave them the perfect reason. I mean,
No doubt.
You wouldn't believe, I've had calls from all over Kentucky, West Virginia, Virginia, and I had one guy call me, and the wall had come into his area, and he said he helped with it, and he said the wall's not coming in anywhere close to where I live without me being a part of it, and he said on our ride we had over 250 on our ride, and he said I'm encouraging all of our people to come to Pikeville. So I'm thinking, okay, now if he brings 250, you know, I don't know, people. This thing is going to be huge. It's going to be huge.
It's going to be huge, and I want to thank you and the city, and Jimmy. Thank you and the total committee that's not here. Thank Jeannie, who should have been here. She knows more about it than any of us. She is the one that coordinated it. She's been the coordinator to it. Judge Hayes has helped her, as Jimmy knows, help steer the meetings, help Jeannie, and the rest of the staff. But this is a community volunteer affair, and as Jimmy was positive in saying, it's going to happen, and it's going to be something that will be etched in our minds and give us a good feeling when that day comes. Thank you all.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.